okay.
I just brutalized your staircase.
That was nice of you.
All right. We are streaming, by the way. So
Yeah, Lauren's been training me to take those to the other room.
That's probably the best course of option. I appreciate it.
that's funny. So Tony, while I'm running down the list, do you want to have your sheet up with all the stats?
Mm-hmm.
I'll have the names.
Hey, it's Austin. Hey.
What's up, boss?
We're
about to
being
start.
Quiet, waiting for you to walk by.
Is there a reason my room's open?
Yes, I was just in there to get the Ethernet cable, and also the only other person went in there was the Cincinnati Bell guy to replace our router because our internet completely got shot for no reason. So you're no, I hid things that mattered.
I don't think those guys
No,
record stuff like that.
that guy probably brought his own.
And I need you to delete this podcast now.
It's very incriminating. It says we're offline for some reason. That's not good.
Where'd you put that stuff?
I actually just hid your bubbler behind the behind two candles on your dresser.
Oh, okay, cool.
And now I'm gonna hit stop recording so that we can delete that.
Did Gator let you know that we watched a little bit of your mom's house
Oh yeah.
when we got home on Saturday night?
Yeah, we did.
We watched the.
Try it out.
No, I told him about
It was
that.
hard no on that.
Oh, you gotta try it out.
We watched him telling his dad
Mom jokes,
blonde jokes
mom
and
Oh,
so
his
funny.
dad's laugh is so funny. I love those.
I
jokes.
love blonde jokes. You know what else I love? Polish jokes.
Yeah, it's like the only
Just like
person
left
that-
field.
Yeah, just like I didn't even know that was a genre.
Oh, you didn't have a grandpa that told you
Uh,
Polish jokes?
I had well, let's not talk about this on the stream.
Jeez.
It's not a good idea.
Guess I need to scoot over.
Well, I'm still fixing the audio here, so.
What do we do about the TV privileges up front?
Oh.
I'm gonna feel weird just looking at this hummingbird
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah, let me fix that.
Also, shout out NFL Stream subreddit. Like you told me about that like a year and a half ago, and then I just deleted it from my memory and never used it last season, and it was outstanding on Sunday.
This is probably my 4th year. It's great. Perfect timing, just for halftime.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
All right.
You gonna put it in the group me?
Well,
Or
still having some audio
Testing.
problems.
testing
It's
the
just
audio
that
problems?
It's only coming out of one side. And that might be because I think I can fix it, guys. Don't worry, guys.
Jeez, it's not like you've been working since 3:30.
Just
Think
wrapping
you'd-
around all those.
Think you'd
drinks
have you
and
figured
stuff.
this out? Yeah, should you have all that water and beverages by your...
You want to start or not?
Just remain very still on the couch there. Oh gosh. Walking all the way over there to fart.
Okay. I think we're ready.
I don't think Brian is.
God damn it. All right, we got to go to the break screen for this one.
Oh wait, no, it's gone. I squeezed it.
Oh my God.
Alright, just start to pop.
All right.
Are we ready?
I'll go.
Yeah, let me throw the link up here.
You guys will. You'll just know if you see me using that staircase. You know what's happening.
Oh, this must be the pick six. Boom.
Oh, that was a poor decision.
Anybody who joins, please let us know if the audio sounds good or bad or in between.
That's
Audio
a
feedback.
it's a hope and a prayer that anyone's gonna join.
I think Cam will.
Cam and Marianne both better be in.
They're probably watching this game.
Cam is at least. Who's V nervous?
All right, we ready to get this rolling?
Yeah, maybe tough for me to monitor chat, but I might just have to periodically check it.
Yeah.
It's typically better when the checking of the chat is less regular.
Yeah.
It's pretty difficult to stay on task.
Right.
All right, ready?
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 3-Step Flop. My name is Gator Shrand, and with me, as always, is Tony Duatel. Tony, how are you?
It's great to be here once again in my living room. The
Good.
best part about this
It's good
podcast
to be
is
back.
that I don't have to go far to be here.
Right, but you have to do all the work to set it up.
That's true.
So-
That's the worst part of the podcast.
Right. But it's good to have you here. We've got a new little venue, and this week we have the Commish back on the podcast. Brian, how are you?
I've been better.
Yeah.
I've been better after, as we'll get into very soon.
Yeah.
And unlike Tony, I had to drive. I had to drive very far to relive a
Right.
very bad Sunday that
This
I
is a
had.
hike for
But,
you.
Yeah, very excited to be here. Excited to be back.
Good. We've got lots to talk about. We're glad you're here because you had the worst performance of the week and one of the worst performances in the history of the league, I want to say. I don't have the data to back that up, but I'm just
You
kind
don't
of
need it.
guessing.
You don't need the data.
No.
You don't need it. It's just you can feel it in your bones.
Right.
Lauren was definitely just being a bitch, but as soon as that game ended, she was like, "Has there ever been a worse performance than fucking negative 40 points that you
Right.
just hung up there?"
I realized that I should have probably set up a fourth mic knowing that Austin was going to come back in case you wanted to drop in and out or just be on it. I figured you would be tired.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit here and watch this football.
That's
game
totally
while
fine.
talking, but-
You're even going to be off camera, so you don't even have to worry about your appearance.
Right.
Not that that's a
Oh,
problem.
God.
'Cause
Oh,
you,
what are you trying to say?
Tony, let me just hold that shovel for you. And
Mm.
back to the podcast.
But we're also glad to have you here because the Browns had a historic week this week.
On top of Tony's great stat of us being responsible for the ties and losses of a +5 turnover team, new stat that this is our best start since 2004. Just not losing.
That's insane.
Best.
On right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
yeah. No problem.
Yeah, that's yeah, I heard they lost the last 13 home games or something like that.
Openers.
Home openers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just all openers.
Yeah,
If
all
the
yeah,
tie
you're
is our
right.
Best start in 14 years.
You're right.
But yeah, it was great. It was. It's probably the loudest Lauren and I have ever yelled at a sporting event that we were not physically present for.
Right.
In quite some time, since I'd say the Buckeyes national championship run is the last time I was
Right.
that excited, and it was week one, Cleveland Browns desperately trying not to lose a horribly ugly
That
football
was
game.
a dramatic game
I didn't-
because
I'm sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I didn't get to watch a ton of football this week, but I did see like the last quarter and overtime of that game, and that was enough. I didn't need
It
to
was-
see a whole lot.
It
more
was
of
a lifetime of football packed into that final quarter and overtime. It was brutal.
I mean, Ben had at least 3 interceptions.
You did.
Two
Yeah.
of which went to Denzel Ward. Shout out
Yep.
Buckeyes.
3
crushed
picks,
it.
4 was sacked 4 times, 2 lost fumbles,
Yeah.
including a pivotal one at the end of what was that at end of regulation, or was that in the overtime?
Well, he had the turnover at the end of overtime that I thought we were gonna 6 for the win. And I
That's
was
right.
gonna
Yeah.
burn my whole
Yeah.
neighborhood down because of Joe Schobert. But of course there was an idiot, which we'll have to look and see who it was. But the Browns don't exactly have closers, as you might guess, over the last 2 years. And there was a dude who should have been blocking, celebrating when we only had the ball at the 20, and the guy who made the touchdown saving tackle just ran behind him and pushed Joe Schobert out of
I
bounds.
did not see that.
Yeah, and the penalty would have pulled it back anyways, but I watched the replay, and the guy was already just like, might as well have taken his helmet off. He had decided the play was over.
So what do you attribute that to? Is that a coaching problem, or is that just a where do we fault?
There are only so many people that are mentally stable enough and also good enough at football to play in the NFL, and the Browns don't have a lot of guys that do both. and don't even have a lot of guys that do one. So
Right.
So he had a bit of a lapse there.
Well, I'll tell you what,
it
it was a hell of a defensive game for the Browns. The offense obviously needs some work, but the weather was rough.
Right.
So a lot can be attributed to that, I guess. But going up against Pittsburgh, I think that's a result you got to be happy with.
Right. I mean, they're in the neighborhood of some people's way too early Super Bowl predictions. So, yeah, a tie against them and a relatively good showing, I suppose. No turnovers, stuff like that.
Were there no turnovers?
From the Browns.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know. I just knew they were
They almost did.
+6 and different.
Yeah,
then
we
there was a
definitely
penalty.
tried.
There was a interception thrown, and then a penalty a roughing the passer got it taken back.
That's right.
So
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, we'll talk about roughing the passer.
Yeah.
Later in the podcast.
Sure, that's going to be a recurring segment for this season.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I just want to know what was going through your head. Two different times. The first time being when the Steelers were lining up for the field goal in overtime.
I really thought, 75-20, he'll miss this.
Okay, so you thought you
just
were
because
thinking,
by then it was monsooning outside. And
it was bad.
The same thing when we had our kick, I was like, 80-20, we'll miss this. It just looked terrible.
Right,
and they were both 40-yard kicks. But the 25 was definitely because fuck us, because this will definitely happen.
Right.
Well, I was going over in my head first of all, if it was the Bengals in that situation against the Steelers, I would think there's no chance he's missing this. This is going in. He's going to drill it right down the fucking center.
It's going to go over the safety net. It's not even going to be close. It's going to be so good.
And then he misses it, and I think, oh, holy shit, they have a shot.
Yeah.
And then I just was hoping they would get maybe 10 more yards. Just get a little, because I think what was 48 yards or something like that, or 44 yards.
Yeah.
It was a pretty far
kick. How far we ended up having to go. And it was deceptive. The fact that we tied them is another one of those things where, if you dig in, you don't realize how much of it was just the field position battle. Our offense was not good enough to move it more than 20 yards. We scored a touchdown because we got it on the 1, and then, pick 6 ran back to the 20, and we still couldn't get any further. Or not a pick 6, just an interception.
Well, I was happy to see Josh Gordon make that touchdown catch.
That was a nice catch.
Especially as somebody who started him on his fantasy team and also sat Deshaun Jackson.
So you got 1 point for the reception, 6 for the touchdown, and that's it for his whole game.
Yeah. Half point for the catch, yeah. So that was good. It was worth it. He salvaged the day. But that doesn't matter, and we don't need to talk about that.
Right, that's real fantasy. That doesn't belong here.
I think that relationship will get better as we go. So I'm hoping Tyrod becomes a less appealing pick, or at least burn some people later if we have a cleaner game. But that remains to be seen if that will ever happen.
You just got to see him against any team when the weather's fine. In a dome.
Right.
Just who do they play next week? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, hopefully the weather's a little bit better, but I don't know. There's a hurricane coming, so who knows?
We're gonna be in trouble.
All right, let's get into last week's picks. Now, it is Monday night, so we are currently watching Sam Darnold play, who was Cam's pick. And then up next is Derek Carr, who is Aaron's pick. So we don't have any points or stats.
Nothing to say about these
except
players.
The fact that Sam Darnold did throw a pick 6 on his very first pass, I believe. I think it was his first pass.
But he also threw a touchdown
of his career.
He also threw a 41-yard touchdown.
Yeah, he just threw a 41-yard touchdown, which is 1 yard over the bonus. So that immediately cut his score into half. That's like a 9-point loss. A 40-yard touchdown. We're both familiar. We both had 40-yard touchdowns this week.
That's right. A couple of them, actually.
It goes to show you can't, when you're watching these games and you're watching your quarterback, you cannot overreact.
No.
Because you could throw a pick 6 right off the bat. And
there's plenty of time to make up for it.
Or Aaron Rodgers last night gets hurt, and then Twitter says that his leg has to get amputated, and then he comes back out and balls out for the second half and wins the game. And Trubisky completely flips also because he started off really hot, and then I ended up with a decent day. So
it's because the big dog came back in.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, we're done."
Let's start with Drew. First pick of the draft went with Nate Low-Penisman.
Oh, and what a great pick it was! My goodness.
He ended up with a total of 40.52 points.
Yeah. That's wait. Is that right?
So that was his after bonus score. If it doesn't add up to what you wrote down.
Oh shit.
Oh,
so
I not?
Drew had the second highest raw score with 30-ish, And he got 10 points for the
For the
shame
benching.
at the end of the game, which put him all the way into first place.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, I'm realizing that I didn't even capture Nathan Peterman's stat line. This is just an absolute disaster.
Good start.
I did all that work and didn't.
Well,
and I
so
must
what I'll
have missed
say
him.
is if this is any sort of trend, Peterman's going to be a lock at the number 1 pick.
You look terrible.
Yeah, and the only thing that'll make him not a lock is if the Bills are willing to sacrifice their rookie instead of Nathan Peterman.
Right.
Because Nathan Peterman is not good at football.
Right.
Like Baker versus Tyrod, you could at least say Tyrod took a team to the playoffs last year, and that's why we're letting Baker
Yeah.
sit. Nathan Peterman threw 5 interceptions in 1/2 last year, so
And yeah, and none of them were particularly like. It wasn't like these passes got deflected or anything.
no, it was like they were mostly his fault.
He was 5 for 18 for 24 yards and 2 interceptions.
Oh my God.
That's like
He didn't even make it to
Wow.
1 negative point
Yeah.
based on yardage.
Oh.
24. He's just barely short.
we actually and we don't have to watch this whole thing, but somebody put together a very nice video of Nathan Peterman's low lights.
Is that just for the one game, or is that?
Oh, this is just for one game.
Oh man.
Was
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor this bad?
Yeah. So it has music and all that, but it's somebody made their own song for it, but it's pretty brutal. So just to give you an idea, this doesn't just have his interceptions. It's got like pretty much every bad pass. Threw it behind on a slant. That's never good. This I like how they showed that.
His tip sheet. Avoid being awful.
Oh,
Overthrown.
that's so bad.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. You got to be kind of frustrated, I guess, if you're a receiver. That was really bad blocking. Good God. Well, the Bills' offensive line's also terrible, right?
Yeah,
That's what I've heard.
I do want to go back and touch on. I think in hindsight, I realized that Cam is going to be even more of a gamesman than initially expected, because he was the only one that looked like an idiot trying to talk Drew out of this pick. And I'm realizing now, or at least hoping now, that he was just trying to get Peterman to slide to the second round so he could
Yeah.
take him, because there was nothing I could possibly come up with that would have made this a bad pick. The Bills are going to be terrible all year, and I think the Ravens' defense is still going to be nasty. And
Right.
They
Yeah.
just came out and they rocked them.
Oh, that's a terrible throw.
I mean,
yeah.
I've just never seen this guy make a good throw. I don't know. I don't watch a ton of Bills. I mean, that is
That
just
went right to
So
brutal.
Hit him in the gut.
So Brian, right now we don't know for sure, but right now it looks like you're gonna have the number 1 pick next week.
Right.
Is Peterman number 1 on your list?
Is he even going to start next week?
Peterman, their rookie is escaping me.
Allen?
Josh Allen, yeah. So it'll be whoever starts for them. I think they'll throw in Peterman one more time. I really think that this was just the Mayan sacrifice to save their rookie's soul, because like when the Browns would throw Sean Kaiser out to lose by 1 million, you're pretty much just like mentally wrecked. The Bills' opening schedule is this game right here that we saw at the Ravens. Then they go then they're at home versus the Chargers, at the Vikings, and at the Packers. So a lot of people were saying that they might just leave Peterman in to get obliterated for 4 weeks and then turn it over to the rookie when there might be a winnable game.
Yeah,
But,
Peterman might be good to pick, just hoping that you get the benching points when they do throw
because
that
he's
rookie
somewhat
in.
on the bubble.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll take whoever the Bills quarterback is going against the Chargers, and hopefully Joey Bosa can just end their life.
All right, that's enough. I can't take that anymore. That's so bad.
Yeah. That being said, let's move on. Number 2 was Cam, who went with Sam Darnold.
Yep,
and
watching him now.
We're watching that unfold right now. After that was me. I went with Patrick Apartments.
Mm-hmm. It took me a second to get that name. I'll say.
It's a thinker.
I was like, "Hey, you're an idiot," and then I got it, and I was like, "All right."
It's like, I'll allow it.
Which ended up being a horrible pick for me. I got negative 11.12 points.
Yeah.
You want to hit those stats there, too?
Yeah. I guess he looked pretty good, right? 15 for 27, 256, 4 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah, 4
just 1 sack,
touchdowns.
no fumbles or anything.
Yeah, Chiefs are good at football.
They
Yeah.
don't take a ton of risks. I mean, we saw like when Alex Smith was there, they would just throw
Right.
like short passes. You know, they wouldn't like.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
The
Tyreek
very
Hill
first
catches a slant and runs the
the
entire
very
way
first
down the
touchdown
field.
was a 10-yard slant that ended up being like a 50-yard touchdown.
Yeah, 58 yards.
But yeah, if you watch like Mahomes when he came in last year or a little bit of the preseason, he has a fucking cannon compared to Alex Smith. So having Tyreek Hill being one of the fastest receivers in the NFL, there are going to be some plays where it's just a straight go route and he's going to bomb it.
Yep.
And it's going to be
Yeah, it was a
big
really
boom,
dumb.
a boom bust pick, I would say, for the
Right.
QB league where that's not a high percentage throw, but when they hit it, it's going to burn you pretty bad.
Yeah, I think my strategy is going to be to take some risks this year, so I'm okay with the fact that this happened because I wasn't going to get Peterman because he was above me, first pick. And then after that, I was between like Fitzpatrick or Tyrod. Tyrod would have been a better pick in the long run, but I'm okay with my pick. It was a risk. It didn't pan out. Whatever.
Whatever.
Moving
And
on.
I'm not going to talk about it
It's in the
anymore.
past.
All right, who we got next?
Next
on the ledger?
was you with Mitch, wide open, you'll miss me, Trubisky.
Yeah.
Not quite a pun. Not quite a rhyme.
the
Close enough to be a bad nickname.
The only
Yeah.
reason I said, like, I thought of miss me, but if I just said you'll miss me, I didn't know if people would know that meant, like, with a pass. So I just said wide open, and then you know that we're talking about a wide
Right.
receiver.
Miss me, now you got to kiss me.
Yeah.
Trubisky.
So
Well, all right. I was pretty happy with the nickname.
Tony wins a title and immediately thinks that intellectually the rest of the group cannot follow an incomplete pass joke in a fantasy league. They might not get this one.
Like my next post in the group me if you got that joke from the start. That's all I'll say. Yeah, Mitch Trubisky. I watched like the first quarter of this game, and he took the Bears right down the field, no problem. Scored immediately on a rushing touchdown, and I was thinking this is going to be a bad night for me. And then Rodgers goes down, and I thought it was going to be a worse night for me, but it ended up being okay because I didn't watch the second half, but apparently the Bears just fell apart. And Aaron Rodgers is really
Classic
really good
Bears.
at football. What was that? another Darnold touchdown there?
No.
Wrong team.
That's the wrong team.
Oh yeah, he plays for the Jets.
Darnold's defense decided to not tackle anybody.
That's right.
But Tony, you ended up with 16.5 points.
Yeah, I'll
Which
take
is
that.
pretty
I'll
good.
take that any week. It's
Uh,
it's nice to have it in the 20s, but if I can get away a week like
Average-
this when some people did not do so well,
Right.
it feels
Yep.
pretty good. So
Average
I'll take it.
last year was like 13 points. So honestly, anything above 13 is a good place to sit, especially week 1.
And then I'll get a decent draft slot this week.
Yep.
Which I'll take.
So next up was Austin with Eli pets the rabbits too hard, Manning.
One of the best nicknames.
Hall of Fame.
all
First
time.
ballot
Dude.
Hall of Fame nickname.
I was laughing so hard by myself.
I was also laughing by myself.
Oh, pets, because it's perfect. You look at his face and you're like, yeah, that guy definitely pets the
Yeah.
rabbits too hard.
And he probably has a slur to his speech or
Oh
something.
my god. Yeah, so Austin ended up with a solid 25.5 points.
Yep.
Freaking Eli Manning.
23 for 37 for 224, no touchdowns, 1 pick, 2 sacks.
Pick six.
Pick six.
Pick
There you
six,
go.
yeah,
I was gonna
that's
say
huge.
fairly uneventful standard Eli Manning football game right there.
Yeah, that's a
I
lot
would
of
say.
completions for 23. I mean,
But also not too bad on the incompletions.
Right.
For this purpose of this
Right.
league, I can talk. I swear.
I'm afraid Eli is terrible and he's got a dumb face, but OBJ scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And I just worry about 60-yard touchdowns.
Just getting burned on that one.
Right.
I mean, he can make big plays. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it, and that can erase a whole bad stretch, a whole bad quarter even.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, you got to
That's
risk
right.
it for the biscuit, Austin
I couldn't have
says.
said it better myself.
He's a pretty safe pick in my opinion against any top 8, 10 defense, anything like that. I just think, people forget because they won a Super Bowl. The Giants were almost as bad as the Browns last year, like 3 wins,
Yeah.
I think. So they got Saquon, so the running game is going to help a little bit. He did put in a touchdown, so that'll hopefully take some pressure off of them. but still just not great. And then Jacksonville, I think, is going to be just as tough to play against as they were last year. So
Yeah,
I'm ready
their
to roll out
defense.
just about anybody who plays the Jaguars this year.
Oh, man. All right, next up is Lauren with Jimmy, grab him by the pussy low.
Nice.
As-
Nice.
And just to get out ahead of any collusion rumors about Lauren's nicknames, because I know that started with the Cam Mary partnership. She's the motor behind her nicknames. I know you think because she's a girl that she wouldn't be able to come up with anything that funny.
Whoa.
They were saying it just before the podcast started, so I just wanted to clear it up here.
It's terrible.
She came up with a nickname, and all I do is tweak. I just tweak so it fits a little bit cleaner into the pun category, but
There you go.
she was already talking to grab him by the pussy before I even got involved, and it was
So-
great.
Well,
nickname.
points for creativity.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
She ended up with 36.78 points, just behind Drew.
Yeah, on the back of a pretty horrible game. 15 for 33, 261. 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 3 sacks. I think
Oh
one was
my
a pick
God.
6 as well. Am I wrong?
Yep,
I would be
it
happy with
was.
just the amount of incompletions that she has there. That's enough points.
18 incompletions.
Yeah, that's enough points to be happy.
The
right
yards
there.
will subtract a little bit,
Right.
but yeah, I'll take that. Everybody loves Jimmy G, I feel like, even despite this performance. I know Minnesota's defense is one of the best in the league, but
yeah.
everybody seems to think he's going to be like real good.
Well,
That
I mean,
was
he
his-
came out 6-0 or 7-0.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going
To
to say that
start
was his
his-
first
the middle of
loss
last
as a
season.
starter
Right.
ever.
So I think he'll be
Sophomore slump.
good. Yeah, maybe. But also, I mean, coming out against the Vikings, his starting running back just got hurt, so like they're in a little bit of a shift there. But Vikings are just going to be studs. Same comment that I had about Jacksonville. And then just like Jacksonville as well, their offense is good enough to kind of keep dangling the carrot out where San Francisco needs to keep throwing. They need to try and keep up, and it gets those attempts up instead of just being like a low-scoring
Right.
game where it isn't forcing him to try and push the
Right.
action a little bit.
That's what I find myself rooting for, the other team's defense, but also the other team's offense.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, yeah, the other team's offense. That way it forces them to kind of throw the ball a little more and not just start running the ball. Because if your team gets up by, a lot of points, they're just going to start running it. That they're not going to take any risks. So you got to root for both sides of the ball.
You just want bad football, just shootouts.
Right.
Right.
Just
Right.
all kinds of crazy shit.
Well, you'd think that. So we get to the 10th pick of
Yeah,
the
we'll
draft
get there.
here.
You don't want that kind of shootout. Up next, we have 2 auto draft picks. So we'll move through these because
Yeah, we'll
these
gloss
there's
over
no
'em.
skill here.
No skill involved. Should lose points, actually.
John went with, and these are both Brian's nicknames.
That's right. Just be gentle.
Went with
Terrell.
Ty God's Plan Taylor. So couldn't
That
help.
pained me, by the way. As hard as I've worked my entire bad QB management career to never draft a Browns quarterback, it was forced upon me.
And then you gave him a good nickname.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
derogatory.
No.
Maybe
couldn't
that
do
should
Be
it.
done.
That should be.
I
docked
couldn't think of
points.
anything.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about.
Right.
Tyrod
He
a
ended up
little
with
bit
33
already.
points.
Tough game. Tough conditions, weather conditions to deal with.
Yeah.
25 incompletions. That helps.
But
Yeah, that's a lot.
To devil's advocate my Browns homership a little bit, our offensive line is such a mess that Tyrod will probably be a fine pick for the
Yep.
foreseeable future unless
Yeah.
there's a big play.
4 sacks.
I've never watched a game where someone didn't have enough time to set up and complete a screen pass. The announcers
Yeah.
were like, well, they set up the bubble screen, but 3 guys were punching him in the gut before he even threw the ball. And it's just like, oh, my God.
And
Everything's falling apart.
Like I said, he almost had a interception if it weren't for the roughing the passer rule.
Right.
Do you want to take a break
Ugh.
in the
Yeah, now might be a good time to talk about.
I was going to
this.
say,
Yeah.
if we're at the 6th pick, let's see what's in the YouTube comments.
So the main issue that I had watching football yesterday was my job yesterday was just finding all of the most egregious
Just get mad.
penalties. Yeah, just the dumbest NFL decisions because I'm a pretty big advocate for the MLB and I feel like anything I can do to take down other sports that are stealing attention away
Right.
from the MLB is positive.
Hashtag like my sport Twitter.
Yeah.
You live at.
Right. So, I wanted to get your opinion on this Josh Gordon play here.
Oh God, I don't want to watch this. This was so horrible.
So this was a play that happened. Josh Gordon was called for unnecessary roughness. Let me.
And now he's
for the
suspended
folks
for
at
half
home.
the season.
Here's the play. So you see a block, and then you see kind of a little, I don't know, a shove,
Oh.
and that's 15. That's a 15-yard penalty.
Right.
So I'm not really sure what exactly prompted that. Maybe is it the pulling of the jersey?
Yeah,
The
I mean, like,
with the
definitely
shove?
don't do that.
It's not
Like,
a nice
definitely
thing to do.
You were being bad, Josh Gordon. It's just so little for such a devastating penalty of 15 yards there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. You
A
hate
bit
to
of a
see it.
flop.
And yeah, the Steelers are going to do that. They're going to flop.
Right.
That's what they do.
And
So yeah, bad
you
call.
You smoke the weeds, and all the white conservative refs are just they're gonna have their eye on you.
They're going after
Make sure
you.
you know exactly. You don't keep a pinky toe out of line.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of bullshit. I actually didn't see that till later. There was also a pretty bad call on Big Ben. Or I guess it was on the Browns, right? But against Big Ben. This was called for roughing the passer.
Yep.
Right. So this one was even worse, or at least I just remember it being worse because I know the situation. So that was going to force them to kick a field goal. That pass,
Right,
if he holds
Right.
up or if that doesn't get flagged, that was third down. So they're going to set up and kick, end up scoring on the next play after they move it right inside the goal line. So that sucked in terms of timing, but that's also not a new rule. Like I don't know how long ago it's been in the rule book, but I know for as long as my NFL memory goes, after the quarterback releases it, staying on him and driving him down has always been a penalty.
Yeah, true, but wasn't this called for the body weight thing?
Yeah, like landing on top of him, basically.
Oh, I thought that was the part
thought
of the
that
new
was-
rule.
It's they said it was I forget who I was listening to talk about it today, but basically they said that's always been in the rule book in some form. It was a new point of emphasis this year.
Oh, I
I
see.
feel like we're just gonna see a spike in it. But
Gotcha.
I watched that and I was like, yeah, I mean, if you can tell. I know that you're trying to just like rip his head off because Myles Garrett definitely like had a point to prove after shredding the Big Ben photo and finally getting to play him. But it's just like I feel like you can tell when you're not gonna get there in time. Just like punch him, you know what I mean? Just like shove him down. He wasn't gonna get the sack by waiting all that time. Just like reach for him and try and interfere, and then you don't get those.
I think it's easy to say that when we watch it in slow-mo 18 times in a row.
Right.
But when things are happening that quickly, I think it's hard for them to stop on a dime and
This is
not
where he is when he
continue their
releases it.
tackle.
Yeah, so ball's out, and he's got another step, I'd say. He still wraps him. And
Going into
drives
his
him
second
down.
step.
No, he was landing. His front. Go back. When he releases the ball,
just send a gift back.
his step is. His left foot's already in the air. He only takes.
Right.
He only plants that
Step.
left foot and drives.
And then he drives.
There's no extra step.
It's somewhat questionable.
Just sucks.
I think as a person who thinks that a lot of these penalties were bullshit, I don't think this should be a penalty
Yeah.
at all.
That and the Carlos Dunlap one was even more egregious.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
Is that
that.
in
Also,
your-
actually, I'm not sure if I was able to find that one. Oh no, I did find it. Yeah, that's this one right here, Andrew Luck.
Going around Twitter right now, but it's,
This one was insane.
he puts his hands down and then rolls off of him to not put his
Yeah,
body weight on.
he's-
Still fucking called it a penalty.
Dunlap is actively trying not to land on him, and he still
He
gets
did a little
called for
push
it.
up around it.
And-
He literally did like a plank and then like a little somersault, and they're like, "Yep, still a penalty."
And this would have been
Jeez.
potentially a fumble or an incomplete pass that the
That was,
Bengals recovered all the way to the 2-yard line.
Jeez.
Yeah, so that's a killer.
That's
and
brutal.
there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't see anything wrong. I don't know what he's supposed to do right
No.
there.
He's supposed to have to go to the side.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Good luck with
They're
that.
there's
When-
Super Saiyans that can twist in midair and change their direction.
Just be a ninja.
I
Right.
mean, yeah, he's supposed to stop right here, stop moving, and just wrap him around his waist. I
And
guess.
start twisting.
So that one was bullshit.
They have to land on the ground behind the quarterback and,
and then
cushion
roll.
their
Yeah, roll and then
yeah.
toss him. This is from Thursday, which I thought this was pretty bad as well. They called the body weight thing on this. So I guess you could make the argument that he was driving his helmet into him there.
Yeah, this stuff is
But
just so.
I mean, look how it's like in super slow mo, and like I don't know, like it's going way faster than that in real life. So But I guess they're just gonna keep calling it. This is probably the worst one of the day.
This one's insane.
Oh,
That's a roughing the passer.
he got jacked.
So from what I heard, this was
He went to the
also
side.
because of the body weight rule.
No,
That
I
could-
mean,
that
that
could
seems
be
like all
wrong,
he can
but
do. He just tackles him with his
I
right
don't know.
arm.
He doesn't even land on top
I mean,
of him.
that is unbelievable to me.
But I mean, you've got to protect the superstars. Ryan Fitzpatrick does nothing but
And this was
fucking throw bombs.
this was
keep him healthy.
the second back to
Yeah,
back.
this was the second in a row.
So that's third. They moved 30 yards down the field just on roughing the passer rules.
Andy Dalton also was on the receiving end of about 3 or 4 of those hits, and not a single.
Yeah,
one
he
of them
did.
was called.
Andy did not get the calls. This is this one's actually extremely weird. This was called a defenseless receiver in the Bucs game. There was also another bad defenseless receiver call in the Bengals game.
Oh,
So that was called for defenseless receiver. I mean, the ball's in the air. They're both going for the ball in the air.
and he didn't even. I mean,
I was once
hands
told
in the air, just like chest to back. I was waiting to see him just like human spear
Right.
through that guy's spine.
I was once told once the ball gets tipped, you can
I mean, he's
pretty
got-
much
Yes.
drill anybody.
He's got his
You're not allowed to
arms.
tackle them if it's
He's got his arms
well,
extended.
then I don't
like,
know what
basically doing
that's
like
being called there.
like a wrist check to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just trying to knock the ball out. I don't know. Being a defensive back in the NFL has got to be the hardest job in America.
gotta conserve the sport.
This is the video of the
Oh,
highly
this is
contested
the
Sean
correct
Williams
penalty call
ejection.
section.
So that was it. That was an ejection, 15-yard penalty as well
Yeah,
as an ejection.
rewind. Did you watch it?
Oh, I'm in 100% agreement.
Oh,
that
okay.
he should have
I
been
was
ejected.
I was joking. I thought
Sean
you guys were gonna
Williams
rail
wasn't
against
Gio's
this.
comments.
Yeah,
Sean Williams did not agree.
shocker, he didn't agree.
He said,
Um,
"What else could I have done?"
I would say what you could do is, if you see him right here, now I know he might not be able to see. I think this is Michael Johnson about to tackle him. He might not be able to see that from his angle, but he actively breaks down and changes his direction in order to launch himself headfirst into Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Watch this.
This
He
is
breaks down and then launch.
Yep.
I mean that is just you're trying to hit somebody in the face doing that.
with the back of your skull. Yeah,
So-
that's the
At that
human
point, he's
spear I just
already
talked about.
already down. You just got to put hands on him, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I know Andrew Luck's a big guy, and he's going for a first down on third down. It's a big play, but don't do that to
Oh.
people. And what I love is this lineman coming in right here saying, he threw a flag, idiot. Like, he's calling him out.
I actually
right
want to. Can you go back to that one more time? I want to talk about this ref needs to be in the MLB doing bat flips. Look at this guy who throws the first flag. That is a fucking rocket ship.
And then there's
Look at
there's
Yeah,
literally
look at
a
all
flag
these-
from every side of the
That
screen.
thing just
there.
landed.
Look at all these flags.
Every
Yeah.
bottom,
One, two,
left,
three.
right, top.
Can't do that.
Four.
That's got to be the first flag, the one up top.
I mean, that is just beautiful. So, yeah, that one, rightfully an ejection. I think I was listening. Well, I wasn't listening. I happened to turn my car on, and it went to 1550 or 550, the local station.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the Bengals, and there were some apologists on there saying that he shouldn't have been ejected.
No, no.
And I think that is what's wrong with the NFL. Honestly, is the people who.
What's wrong with the entire football community?
Well, yeah. It's like the whole argument where it's like, okay, we agree it was a bad hit, but should he have been ejected? Wink, wink. Like, the only way to actually make a change is to throw people out of games.
Right.
15. It's clear that 15-yard penalties don't matter. Fines don't matter. The only way to actually penalize a team, and
Right.
that way you're penalizing a team and not just the guy, is to eject them. And that way, you do that twice in a season, 3 times in a season, your teammates are going to be like,
gets
hey,
cleaned up.
quit it. So I think that's good, and I think it's good that college implemented that, a few years ago or
Yeah, it's
4 or
Yeah.
5 years ago. Maybe we'll
It'll get
actually see
better.
less brain scrambling.
And I would think that as the amount of bad hits like this go down, I think we'll be complaining about less of the close calls, because I think,
Right.
just like you said, you kind of call it super tight, you restrict, and then everybody finds a happy medium that
That's
has
true.
less people getting their brain scrambled every week.
Let's
That's
hope
true.
that's the case.
I'm very critical of the refs, even though I know the goal of these penalties is to make the game safer, which is something I've been bitching about for a long time. So
Right.
I realize the contradiction, but I think it's kind of like when people push for like laws that won't help at all. It's like you just want to do something and you're not doing the thing that makes it better. You're just like, well, someone has to do something, but we're not going to like actually think about the best way to do it.
Well, and they really only care about the quarterbacks primarily, and maybe some wide receivers here and there. But running backs get hit all the time. And there's no special rule to protect them.
They all have 2-year careers because they're completely destroyed. Yeah, they don't seem to care about the running backs, but the quarterbacks get all the special treatment.
Right. All right. Well, that was good discussion. Let's get back on track.
Can we wait before we get back? Lauren has texted and requested a reviewing of the YouTube comments.
Oh yeah, we have been letting those go by the wayside.
Let's check that out.
Yeah, I can run through those. So there were a few dating back to the start of the podcast. Cam let us know that Marianne went to bed. I was not able to
can't hang
watch the podcast, which, I guess that's her choosing what's important in life, and that's up to her. I think it's a bad choice.
Sleepover pod.
Or like number 2 Farley, in my opinion.
What do you think about that? Well, she doesn't know.
Think about it.
She didn't hear it.
Although I will say, Cam, you need to change your team name. That's just the auto draft team name that Yahoo came up with. Yeah, that's actually
that has to happen by next week.
You're the Twitter egg version of our fantasy league right now, and that needs to be updated.
It looks like, let's see if I can get this updated here. Brian says, like, if you're watching us in 2018, thanks.
That wasn't me.
That must be Lauren.
That's Lauren. Okay.
What the fuck? Like, if you're watching in 2018.
Thank you. That's a very funny YouTube inside joke comment. I like that a lot. Cam corrected you and said Tyrod, not Tyrod.
It's been changed back. He came.
What?
He came out and he asked for.
Oh, he
Tyrod.
did.
I've been telling people this for 2 weeks. Nobody listened to me.
Wow.
Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
So was he just trolling us the whole time?
I don't know what to think. Maybe that's what he wants. Maybe he wants to go back to some level of anonymity of people not being able to nail him down.
That's probably kind of fun for him.
Yeah.
Cam says Josh Allen has a goddamn cannon. And I like that you said "got" instead of "God." Lauren says might be unnecessary, but certainly wasn't fucking rough. And if I would have known what that was in reference to, I would reply to that. But I'm guessing it was on the Browns, the Josh Gordon unnecessary roughness penalty. We agree with you, Lauren. That was unnecessary, not that rough.
Was that it? Are we caught up now?
That's all we got. Oh, yeah, I believe. Yeah, Lauren just clarified Josh Gordon. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being active in the chat, both of you.
Oh, my gosh. Torture chamber. He's
was this
dead.
Quarterback points here, or was this a handoff?
I don't know, but number 29.
No.
Number 29.
Again,
right.
Tony,
no
one's on the Lions. We don't have anyone on the Lions. So
right.
focus, Tony.
That's right. Okay, we want to move it on to Brian's segment that he.
We still have more people to go through.
Oh my God, Jesus! Okay.
Yeah.
6 more. That's us.
Yeah, let's bust through these.
Who else we
Taylor
got?
auto drafted. So Brian came up with the nickname. Why you always Ryan Tannehill? I think he's proud of that one.
I'm still laughing.
I posted the image of the guy, which is necessary. I don't think I would have got it without it. Let's see.
So
Dolphins.
Tannehill, that game went into 2 separate 2-hour rain delays.
Right. They didn't.
was brutal.
They ended up not doing a halftime because they came back like right before halftime and were like, "Hey, let's just not do that."
She got 5.42 points, so not a lot happened.
Where's the dang
I think she
Dolphins?
opened up with
There
a
they are.
touchdown. And am I right about that?
Tannehill?
Yeah,
Tannehill threw a touchdown
2
in the
touchdowns,
second
2
quarter.
interceptions.
Yep, there you go. So Tannehill was 20 for 28, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, no fumbles.
Yeah, so not a lot.
Solid
5.42.
Tannehill day.
I think she's
Blaine Gabbert
happy with it.
got some looks.
Yep.
Did he
Blaine
really?
Gabbert-
Keep an eye out on the waiver wire.
Yep. Marcus Mariota went down with an
Hurt
injury.
his elbow.
Oh yeah.
The Tennessee also lost like 2 of their
Delaney
linemen
Walker.
or something.
Delaney Walker, their tight end, went down. He's a stud.
Yeah.
So Blaine
They're-
Gabbert could be a hot pick next week. depending on who
Absolutely.
they
I
play.
don't care who they're playing. That's going to be a good pick.
All right. Up next, Aaron went with Derek Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
He's playing
which
tonight.
That's
I
not
think
played
is
yet, but
funny.
It's a fantastic.
It's not derogatory.
It's the first time that Aaron went with like a pun nickname and not a poopy doopy mishmash nickname.
Which is good. It's good to see that growth.
He's
from
branching.
But can
Yeah.
we also criticize him for doing something that's positive. I mean, Kareem
Yeah, it's
Abdul-Jabbar's a
not-
Hall of Fame NBA
it's not
basketball player.
true.
Why?
derogatory.
That's not bad. There's nothing bad about being him. He was in fucking Airplane. That's
Yeah.
a great thing.
Yeah.
Baby
So
steps,
he's
I guess.
coming up tonight. I hope he does terrible because I want to remind everyone that I hate Aaron and he's my rival and he still owes me a 6-pack.
You hope
So
Aaron does.
Oh, and I should remind everyone if they didn't
yes,
check
I hope
out
Aaron does terrible.
the highlights that have been posted to the channel. Alex still needs to accept
He
my
does.
offer for the 3 6-packs, and if I had a sound of crickets right now, I would play it.
Is he alive?
We don't know. He hasn't responded.
Next time we next time we do Harry Potter trivia, we'll see him.
We'll sneak him in with a pod.
Yeah, we'll bring that.
It'll be,
We'll bring
it'll
it.
be the Tyrone Bigum's free crack giveaway. We'll be like, oh, there's nerd trivia. He shows up. There's microphones everywhere.
Sit down, Alex.
Now that you're here,
All right. So last but not. Oh wait. No, I'm sorry. We're on Brian, who went with Ryan, the replacement Fitzpatrick. All right, we're gonna have to talk about this one for a while.
this was an absolute
Below average
tear up.
nickname.
Yeah, that's
Excellent pick.
Fan.
You know,
Listen.
I can't give you any shit because I went on the record as to saying that I thought Fitzpatrick was going to be the steal of the draft.
I got him in the 10th round.
Right.
He was. I mean, everything adds up basically in terms of that being a good pick.
I'm
Again,
sitting there.
Saints a team with a good defense. I'm gonna rant for a bit.
Go ahead.
Saints
Go
team
ahead.
with a good defense. Multiple other people throwing their name out again in the way too early Super Bowl predictions. So a solid team. They're at New Orleans, I believe. So you're out there playing at home. Good for Drew Brees. They were the biggest spread of Matt Stafford might be hurt here too. But they're the biggest spread of all the Bovada lines I send out, which is another thing that I'll look at because, again, we want our quarterbacks to be down and throwing.
Right.
And he just balled the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where, like, it all got so bad so fast that you just had to kind of laugh.
I'm sitting there watching on the couch with Taylor, and I'm just cackling
It wouldn't
with
stop.
how well he was performing. The announcer is sitting there saying, "This is the best game of Fitzpatrick's career,
Right.
of his entire
Yeah,
career."
I did hear him say that.
Everyone's saying, "Would you have seen that coming?" They're cutting to different. People are showing how great he's doing on different broadcasts. Who would have guessed it?
Can you believe it?
And he's in, like, the Josh McCown neighborhood now where it's, like, journeyman quarterback, kind of considered washed up, just always gets moved around, and then we'll just come in and sling it and
Yep.
just completely fuck your week up. So not much you can do about it, but
We
it
can't
at
have
least
these
made me-
biases. We've
yeah.
got these biases of quarterbacks who have done us well in the past.
Yeah, and I mean, it still makes sense in terms of law of large numbers. Most times Fitzpatrick is going to be a good pick for you. He just burned me, but I was a little happy for him, even though he ruined my team, because he's like a guy that, like, could be on the Browns and we've forgotten about it. Like,
Right.
all
Yeah.
I've cheered for my whole life is people that aren't on the same team for more than a year or two. So to see him show up at a new spot and, like, they might not bring Jameis back. Like, he was just crushing it. So it was kind of like, have
He's-
a day, old man.
He's like a football mercenary. Like, he just
Yeah.
goes wherever the money is
That's
and
right.
just drops bombs on people.
Wherever he's needed.
Come on, that's
Some of the
pretty good.
penalties that got called this week on defensive players, and the fact that that was not a penalty is silly.
Did he just get pulled down from behind?
So he got thrown down, like, driven into the ground, and one of the defensive Matt Stafford literally just got driven into the ground and speared by one of the defenders, top of their helmets, and no penalty was
So that's
called.
like 3 personal fouls.
Minimum.
Matt Patricia is furious.
But it was just the defender's head weight, not his
Oh,
not his
head
body weight.
Got
That's
it.
the difference.
Got it. Well, Matt Castle's in the ball game, and talk about potential bad quarterback stars.
Yeah.
14th season. he
Matt
does.
Castle is the definition of journeyman. Journeyman.
Journeyman.
Okay, is that all our Fitzpatrick talk? Can I get rid of this?
I think
meme
it is,
now?
yeah.
Okay.
All right, next up, we've got Alex with Joe Backfat Flacco. And how did he... Oh,
Come
by
up
the
with
way,
that? Is
Aaron
that what
got...
you were gonna ask?
No. Aaron got... Brian got negative 34 points. So that's...
Oh,
man.
man.
Ooh, man.
The worst ever.
Brutal.
That's rough.
It's gonna be tough to dig your way out of that hole.
Alex got
But
negative
I have faith in you.
3.72. So there were 3 of us in the negatives.
Yep.
Alex being one of them. Yeah, Flacco's... I'm not sure why he picked Flacco.
Well, because
Maybe
he's
he
not
thought the
good.
Bills were good.
Flacco's not good.
Yeah.
He's elite, but he's not good. Only 9 incompletions, 236 yards. I mean, when you're up against Nathan Peterman, and if you're a quarterback up against Nathan Peterman and you walk off the field because your drive is over, you can't even get to the bench. Like, you barely can just get a cup of water, and then you're already have to go back out there.
Maybe that's what he was banking on. He was like,
tired.
He'll be playing so much offense, he'll be exhausted and start making mistakes.
But yeah, I think that'll probably be the best game of the year you see from Joe Flacco. He's still going to be a good option.
Yeah, against
wow,
against a good
that was
defense.
an amazing touchdown. Holy shit.
What a terrible play by the line.
Was that a punt? Was that a return or what?
Yes.
Darn, I was hoping that was a short passing play.
Oh my god.
Last but not least, we have Marianne with Case of the Yips Keenum.
Which I like that name.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll take it.
She got 8.42 points.
Who's he tossing for these days?
The Cardinals. Oh.
Yeah, Denver.
Oh yeah.
See, nobody knows.
Cardinals is Smith.
Denver.
There's a lot of movement for names that have.
Yep.
Same.
Well, I think it's just because we're so ultra familiar with not the best quarterbacks in the league, but the shitty ones, and they tend to go to different teams.
I'll tell you who looked really bad. I haven't looked up how many fantasy points they've actually gotten, but the Texans, Watson, he looked bad.
I was expecting a regression there, but he had a pretty terrible game. But it's difficult to not regress when he was throwing a touchdown, I think, 1 every 7 passes last year.
Yeah.
So
Crazy run there.
Yeah, obviously he wasn't going to be.
And then he got hurt,
good.
so wasn't he out for the year?
Oh yeah, last year.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that was his first game back from being hurt, I guess, not counting
and I'm sure they'll
preseason.
be encouraging him to be more of a pocket passer instead of like a crazy scrambler. So
he
we'll
ended
see
up
if he
with
stands out.
25 points.
Dang.
Yeah, Case Keenum, he's one of those guys that's like, I always thought he was shitty, and then last year he like played kind of good, didn't he? I mean, he was like all right.
He took over for Sam Bradford.
Yeah,
Went to the playoffs.
he did real nice.
Yeah.
So I don't know about Case Keenum. I'm probably gonna stay away from him because he just seems like one of those boring guys that never really does anything too bad.
He'll be a little Alex Smithy, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like he's probably not going to be a great regular fantasy quarterback, but I don't know if he'll ever be a complete dumpster fire unless it's somebody really strong he goes against.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta agree with that assessment.
All right, well, that's everyone in the list.
Great first week. Everyone.
Yeah, that was a good first week. We're still waiting on Cam and Aaron here, but really good first week overall. And in the future, I think the podcast is going to be Monday nights, so that's just what works best for me and Tony. So clear your schedules because we'll be looking for new guests every week.
If you have the worst Sunday, that should be the new policy.
You get priority
because you should have the most rant material out of anybody.
Yeah,
That is true, and that's also a game that you probably know about because you probably watched at least some of it. So,
all right, you want to, Brian? It looks like you brought a segment with you this week.
All right.
So I spent a ridiculous amount of time actually putting this segment together once I committed to the pod and got home. So this actually was sparked by the comment Lauren made that I said, who was just trying to rub my nose and how well she did and how poorly I did, where she said, that has to be the worst bad QB performance ever. And I made some comment like, I don't fucking know, Lauren, I don't want to talk about it right now. But I thought, certainly someone had to have had a worse game than that. Fitzpatrick could not have had the worst game ever. So
So you went through and checked.
I went digging through the annals of bad quarterback history.
Let's see if we've got any comments, by the way.
I just checked. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Lauren was a big fan of the SpongeBob meme. She said it was gold.
Okay, good. But that's not a new meme, by the way. That was from last year.
But I mean, it's worth bringing back up. It doesn't get old.
Very good. So I actually dug back through and I wanted to just kind of rehash some terrible memories of people having Sundays, Mondays, or Thursdays like I did yesterday. So I actually painstakingly went through the history week by week of every past season, because that's all gets kept on Yahoo.
Wow.
But because we change our rosters every week, I then had to see lowest 1 week score of the entire season, then find the manager, then count their transactions to find who they had on that week.
Man.
And then go to NFL.com to look up the box scores and recalculate all the shit I found.
Are you serious?
So I went through it.
That's
for
a
this
ton of
team.
work.
This is basically like how Facebook started.
Right. But what I wanted to show was basically just how many times people get burned by what looks like a great pick like I had, because I really do think that's the fun part of this league. Like in regular fantasy, you can get burned and get a 1 instead of a 12, but to just drop a negative 30 burger on your season total is really deadly. So I don't know who my PowerPoint man is.
I can hit you to the next
Okay,
slide.
so first one, 2017, week 3, Case Keenum, who we just talked about. This was selected by John, who even after this terrible week still made it all the way back to 4th place out of 12. So I was trying to give myself a little pep talk there. It's not over yet. So week 3, he went out, ended up defeating Tampa Bay 34-17. So not a great squad, and Minnesota was good. But Case Keenum, like you said, unproven, kind of boring guy. And he had just come in for Sam Bradford either that week or the week before to take over. So what you would consider a relatively safe bet.
Right.
Balls out, negative 22.5 fantasy points, 25 for 33, 369, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a 142 passer rating. So yeah, just that was the most awful one of that entire season. That was the lowest one game
Really?
score.
Of the whole season.
Yeah.
And you beat that.
Yeah, I beat that by a good amount. And I think the negatives get lower or higher from here, however you want to think about it.
Oh, man.
So that was 2017, so the most recent season. 2016 is in here as well. So Trevor Seaman, or whoever the nickname was that time, this was Austin. So Austin didn't have a great run in 2016. As we recall, he ended up in 5th place out of 10 teams. But yeah, Trevor Seaman here went out. He actually came and kicked Cincinnati's ass, which that tasted even sweeter getting to read that recap, because I know I'm going to deal with a lot of Cincinnati homerism in the A bracket of wagering this season. So knowing that Austin was all in on that pick to get burned made me feel a little bit better inside. So
Well, and at that time, week 3, 2016, there was a lot more optimism in Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, very quickly after that, the optimism really dropped off and hasn't recovered since then. So that's an interesting
I've
time.
also figured out how to play this game since then.
right.
Oh,
Austin's developed a better
Austin's
strategy.
a new man.
But yeah, so again, more reasons why the pick made sense. Just replacing Peyton fucking Manning after their Super Bowl. So
Right.
a brand new guy, essentially a rookie. First start on the road against what we thought was a good defense. And then crushed it. 4 TDs, no interceptions, 132 passer rating. So that one hurt Austin a bit in
Those poor
2016.
Bengals. So rough.
So the lesson right now is picking guys that are replacing other guys it hasn't paid off.
So
It
far,
always.
I mean, the past 3 years, that's been the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
15 is a familiar name in this
there
category.
he
So
is.
Miss Taylor Hammonds went with Marcus Mariota from Tennessee. She ended up in 10th place out of 10 teams.
That was back in the 10-team days.
Yeah, she got comfortable down there in the gutters of bad QB lore. But yeah, he showed up rookie season. Him again being a mobile quarterback, similar to the Deshaun Watson conversation. Sprained his knee. This was his first game back going against a good team in the Saints, and they got in a shootout. This actually went into overtime. He threw the game-winning touchdown pass, ended up with 4 touchdowns, no picks, almost 400 yards. So that one will hurt quite a bit.
And that must have been Mariota's first or rookie year. I mean,
Yeah,
It
that was
was,
his
yeah.
rookie season there in 15.
Oh, it says it right there. Okay.
And yeah, still early week 9, so maybe we hadn't collected quite enough data to make good decisions, or maybe Taylor had already tuned out by the time we were in week 9.
Yeah, it could have been an auto pick.
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Potentially.
I didn't want to scroll all the way back in the group me. I wasn't that
Yeah.
committed. So I was 15, and then our inaugural season, Taylor again. So, like I said, it took her a while to get her feet wet, so she ended up in 8th place that year after week 6, picking Derek Carr, another rookie who now has, sprung into someone who's a little bit more reliable. Went out to San Diego, someone who did outscore them, so this was actually the only QB that ended up losing. But still managed to get the job done for Taylor.
Let's hope Aaron can get negative 14 tonight with
That's
Derek
right.
Carr.
Yeah,
That's
and then
what
he's given Taylor a nice little
Yep.
thumbs down signal. This is where your standings are going.
Well,
Right
this
down here
is
into the gutter.
this is a thumbs down for 2014, and this is a thumbs down for 2015.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it was.
She gets so frustrated every single week. This year she looked at me and said, "I just want to like this league once.
Right.
I just want."
It's been nothing but pain since I started. So that was my quick recap there. None of us obviously remember those games, but I thought it would be fun to rehash other people's pain.
I love it.
So no higher than a 4th place finish. That was
Nobody
the highest.
beat 4th place after having the worst game of the year. But
Do you think you'll beat 4th place after having
it's still my year.
a 34?
It's still my year. there was too much support for it to not be my year. It's a long season. As you'll see, these people made mistakes well after week 1, sometimes waiting all the way until week 3 or 6. So I've got 16 weeks to recover is really how I look at it.
That's true. It's week 1.
Yeah, it's early.
Can't overreact.
It's
Yeah.
early.
And but before we move on,
Yeah.
while I was digging back through the history books there, a little bonus trivia for the 3 guys in this room. Can you name the bad quarterback manager
Yeah.
that
Go on.
that ended our 2014 season with 3 consecutive 0-point weeks?
Oh.
2014?
2014, our very first season, someone ended with 3 straight goose eggs.
So
3
somebody
zeros.
forgot to start their quarterback 3 times in a row?
Or just didn't draft. It was too long ago. I don't think GroupMe existed yet.
Yeah, how did we even do it
I have
back
no
then?
idea.
Was it me? Okay,
I'm going to
good.
say Kate.
It was Kate. I forgot she played.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the whole thing, was just a way to remind me that she played.
I completely forgot until just now.
Yep.
We had a 9-person league, and one of them was Kate's very good team,
Man.
which was her name for the entire
We
season there.
really should have just went 18. I wonder whose idea that was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that segment, Brian.
Yeah,
That was
no
fantastic.
That was good.
Anything that goes back into the history of the league, I'm a fan of.
That's
Yeah.
where we need you. You're
Yeah.
commissioner,
right.
historian. We need you for that, so it's appreciated.
All right. Up next, everybody's favorite.
The classic. Who's that quarterback?
Who's it gonna be?
Look at the chin-beak combination.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
got
yeah.
a nose. He's got
Is
a
that just because
noggin.
you had to trace it, or that's what he looks like?
Well, I traced it, but
That's
that's
what he looks
pretty.
Really, what his chin
That
looks
is
like?
fairly
true to
accurate.
form. So we'll. I know we have a lot of people in the chat right now who
That's
are going
right.
to be guessing on this one. Although Brian, you haven't seen the answer to this.
Yeah, no.
I did, and I didn't recognize the face.
Because usually, I
Oh,
accidentally
okay.
show the preview because I don't know how to hide the preview. So, but Brian has not seen it. I will say that Lauren did comment lots of anals of time, and she wanted to correct whoever said anals and say it's anals.
No, I said anals on purpose.
Okay. Well, she was just clarifying that it's actually annuls.
Did we ever
We'll
put?
talk about this when I
Speaking
get
of
home, Lauren.
annuls, did we ever put Brian's lower third up there this week?
Oh no, we might.
Go ahead and throw his
Too
name
late.
up
Well,
there.
this-
Too late.
Okay,
This doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, it does. It's
We're reintroducing me.
right there. Well,
It's unbelievable.
Speaking of annuls,
while we're waiting on some guesses to
Looking
come
for
in.
something that says "Daddy likes leather."
yeah. Thank you to Gator for the great lower third work. That
Yeah.
all the design was done by Gator
Thank you.
himself.
Thank you.
It looks fantastic.
I don't think we have any guesses. You want to give him a clue?
Yeah, let's go first clue here. First clue, he's a first round pick.
Okay.
He was a first round pick. That doesn't really help you a whole lot unless you have memorized all the first round picks' facial features. I think we might
This
as well
is too
just.
hard.
Well, I feel like we might as well
Is
just.
Cam still paying
Cam
attention?
might have dropped out. I don't know. He might have also went to bed.
Once we went back before his season.
Yeah. Maybe just go to the clue number 2.
Yeah, let's do it.
This one will open things up a little bit, I think. He went to Memphis.
Oh,
First round
God,
pick.
I'm not good at this. stuff.
Quarterback out of Memphis. As far as I know, in my
Blake Bortles.
no,
No.
but not a bad guess.
We need Austin.
In
Austin.
my Austin might know this, just based on these 2 clues alone, because I'm pretty sure in my small amount of research that he's the only quarterback to ever go in the first round from Memphis. Yeah.
Jeez.
There haven't really been that many quarterbacks from Memphis in the NFL.
And he looks like a white boy, so I'm trying to picture my
Ooh.
white boys here.
Nice. You're right.
He is indeed a white boy.
Shit. Do I get a third clue?
There is a third clue.
Yeah, you can use Blake the Snake as my first guess here.
We do want to say that somebody in the comments did guess correctly.
Dang.
And it was your wife.
Of
Lauren.
course.
Wow.
So if you're watching and you read the comments,
She Googled it.
you know the answer
Bullshit.
right now. It came in pretty
do you
quick,
Google?
so she may
Okay.
not have been able to
First
Google
round
it.
pick from Memphis.
Yeah.
You said that
I
he
was
was
like,
the
how do you
only
Google
one?
a silhouette, Brian? You
The,
can't.
the last clue is he was rostered as recently as this month in the NFL.
No.
He was on an NFL roster in September of
Oh,
2018.
and he's not now, is what you're trying to say.
He was rostered as recently as this month.
Oh no.
Tip of the tongue, teeth in the lips.
Yeah, I know. Scotch. I'm not gonna remember. I feel like the entire world is watching me on YouTube right now.
It's Paxton Lynch.
No, Paxton.
Look at that haircut.
Yes.
Paxton Lynch with the fantastic haircut.
That's great.
I believe that was maybe a rookie prank.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think that was a
they,
serious haircut.
They gave him that, and they gave Tim Tebow like the opposite. Tim Tebow was like the Friar Boy, where they just took out like the
that's
middle
right.
cap.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Perfect. Okay.
Well done,
Well,
Lauren. Bested yet again.
Nice
I'm sure I
job.
won't hear about that when I get home.
Nice job, Lauren. Nailed it. You get the coupons.
The coupons that aren't gonna happen.
If you come to my house, I got coupons.
Right.
So Paxton Lynch, I just wanted to
Look at that
commemorate
guy.
his time in Denver.
I almost
Look
traced
at
that
that.
one right there where he's about to barf.
Yeah, I wish him the best. I don't
Look at
know.
this fucking Orlando Bloom facial hair situation on Sports Illustrated.
He was the successor, but he did not have much success.
Oh no!
Tony's been working on
I
that
was
one.
gonna
for a
say,
while.
did you just come up with that?
Guys, that was off the dome.
Right. All right. Good. Graded on a curve.
I unfortunately I couldn't find one single game that was all that bad because he played so little that he
Right.
really didn't have a chance to be so bad.
You couldn't see the benching points.
Yeah, so his career numbers, 4 touchdowns over 128 attempts, I think is bad enough as it is.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's not good. Four interceptions to 4 touchdowns.
He's
Just
only got him for 5 games.
I think he's just going to be a very forgettable part of
Well, I couldn't remember.
NFL history. Yeah. So I mean I heard that the Lions were working him out, but it seemed like he just from day one was never latching on to that system at all, or just didn't have work ethic or something. But he's now a free agent.
He's just a
So
little bit flimsy.
I don't know the exact stat, but I believe he's one of the quickest first round picks to ever be cut from their team. I think he actually beat Jamarcus Russell. I think Jamarcus Russell
Jesus.
played longer for the Raiders than Lynch did for the Broncos. So
And the Browns always trade theirs for like a 9th round pick, so it's
Right.
not as bad.
right.
Oh man,
Go, buddy.
the Jets are
Crow.
really.
Just as we
Crow
say
is
that,
eating.
the Jets are just putting a beat down on the Lions.
that was a
right
handoff,
Crow-
unfortunately.
Crowell and Bilal Powell both look fit.
now. Man, all you Bengals fans that wanted Matt Patricia as your coach, here you go. Well, it's time to overreact after
Wow.
one game.
While we're updating you on the Jets, Sam Darnold is down to 5.5 points. He
Very
started
good.
the game at 18 after the first quarter, and now he's down to 5.5. So
Yeah.
just another lesson. There's plenty of game left. Things can always change. So unless you're Brian and Fitzpatrick
And
just falls out.
extrapolate to the entire season. There's plenty of season left.
Well, I think that's all we got, right?
That's about it.
Brian, thanks for coming.
No problem.
Always good having the commissioner on here.
Pleasure as always.
And we'll be reaching out to the rest of you for podcast guests from here on out. So please come on down.
Please.
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 Badly, we need you.
All right, so this was the 3-Step Flop. My name's Gator Shrand.
I'm Tony Littell.
Thanks.
Bye.